A real highlight, and Bob, I think you maybe helped us put this together initially, was the relationship we had with Don Soderquist, who was the former vice chairman of Walmart. He was there with Sam during those about 20-year period of time, and I forgot the numbers of what they went to when he first came on board.
1980 to 2000. When he started, it was about a $2 billion company, and at the time he left, it was a $200 billion company, and today they're over $400 billion company. So they do over $1 billion a day in sales.
A day in sales. Well, I don't know. We weren't there to figure out how to run a $400 billion company. You know, if we could just get from where we're at to where we think we might need to be in the next 5 to 10 years. But we went as a group together, and I think the fact that we went as a group to sit down and talk with him, that in and of itself had a lot of value. I got excited because Mr. Sam has been one of my retailing mentors. His willingness, his agility to move from the boardroom into stock analyst to putting on the baseball cap, give me the Walmart chair, WAL, give me the squiggly. His willingness to sit on the floor during store hours to meet with clerks and other associates.
And customers.
And customers were tremendous. I love the very viral, in this, you know, right there at the marketplace touch, the feel that he had, I think represents retail excellence in terms of the attitude that it conveys about the culture of the business.
I remember when we got off the airplane to go to the Leadership Center and to visit Walmart, and I was really struck by just the entire setting of that. I remember Bubba tried to offer a cow to the young lady from Walmart who was greeting us, and she was not able to accept that cow, which is a bit of a surprise. And then I remember driving over to Walmart to meet with Mike Duke, the head of Walmart, and we drove past the headquarters a couple of times because we couldn't find it. There was this warehouse building over there, and it turned out to be the headquarters of Walmart. And then actually just walking into the building itself, very austere. The furniture actually looked like some we replaced, and that kind of thing. And just the whole frugality and sense, really a sense of humility there at the top of Walmart, I think was really impressive.
You know, one of the things that really impressed me as we sat with Don and just learned a lot about Sam Walton was the amazing similarities between he and Truett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, Sam was a visionary, but I don't think he had a vision at all that there would be a $400 billion business today. That's not the kind of vision he had. When I think about Truett and his initial vision for this business, I don't think Truett envisioned 1,500 stores and $3 billion in sales today. You know, Truett's vision was centered around a successful business that would honor God and show his love to other people, that vertical and horizontal component of this business, which is reflected so well in our corporate purpose.
One of the other things that Don made, I made a note that really caught my attention, was he said that Sam was just passionate about being non-conventional. Whatever's going on in the marketplace, particularly in retail, flip it. Look at it 180 degrees and be non-conventional to the point of completely unexpected, which quite honestly, kind of similar to some of the stuff we heard this morning. But that really is the history of Truett and Chick-fil-A, is the non-conventional.
Yeah, and how inquisitive he was.
Inquisitive. I mean, he went to competitors not to see what competitors were doing, but to learn what competitors were doing.
A statement that he made that I really resonated with, it caught my ear because I never heard that before and expressed the way he did, was that he wanted his buyers at Walmart, reminded them, you're not buying for Walmart, you're buying for the customer.
That's right.
And what a powerful thought that is.
You know, Sam's vision was really to reduce the cost of living for people that shopped with Walmart, really a quality of life issue for his customers.
One insight Soderquist had as he looked at the development of Walmart was focused on people and leadership development. And he talked about they had to develop the people to keep up with this scale, as Bubba was talking about. And they found this formula that I thought was interesting. They needed to have enough people coming up through the system that had the values, the culture of Walmart, but they had to have enough talent coming in from outside to keep the talent pool and relevance and all that. And I was very interested to see the number that he said they settled on was a 2/3, 1/3. 2/3 coming up through Walmart and 1/3 coming in from the outside.
Talk about sprinkling the leadership team with outside people.
Yeah.
But
I
they
think
learned the
balance
hard
is
way.
important.
I think if you remember in that conversation, he said they went through a season where they got too lopsided to the outsiders.
Right.
And they started to lose their culture. And it really was hurting the environment and the values of the business. So they came back the other way.
Dan, a quick story on Don Soderquist. He was coming to Atlanta to speak to a leadership conference. I found out about it, and so I called him and invited him to stay with us the night before, which he did. He
At
was
your house?
at my house, and it was wonderful to host him there and one of his assistants. So they got up the next morning. He had never been to our Chick-fil-A office, so I wanted to run him by the office on the way to his speaking engagement downtown Atlanta. So while we were there at the office, he wanted a cup of coffee, which he fixed himself, and they got about 3/4 of a cup of coffee. Well, by the time we drove him downtown, he still had a 1/4 of a cup of coffee left over. He apologized for not drinking all of his coffee. And so on the way back, I told the gentleman that was with me, I said, I want to keep that cup of coffee because that shows something about the frugality of him and also something about his servant leadership. So we still have that empty cup of coffee. It's in one of our paper cups in the office there today. It's up in our bookshelves that we got.
You know, we talked a lot about, for several years now, second mile service and the added value through service at no extra cost to the customer and very little extra cost to us. And I wrote down a quote from Sam Walton, so he had already thought of this a long time ago. You can serve the customer without satisfying them, but you cannot satisfy the customer without serving them. Mm-hmm. And so he got it. You know, he infused that into the culture of Walmart. And I think that's part of what Don was saying. They had a season where they lost it.
Yeah, it looked to me like, because we saw Don Soderquist first, and he clearly helped Sam build Walmart, and then we went to see Mike Duke. And Mike Duke sure seems like he has taken this legacy and building on it. Mm-hmm. His personal humility, I know you were impressed with the way that he handled lunch.
Yeah, he cleaned up after we left lunch. I stuck my head back in to tell him one more thing, and he was in there cleaning by himself. Because there were folks waiting to use that meeting room.
I like this story he told on himself. He went to Georgia Tech, grew up in Fayette County, Georgia, and he said he barely got into Georgia Tech, and then he barely got out of Georgia Tech.
He actually grew up right down the street from where we live right now in Fayette County, and he told a little
mile away.
Yeah, he told a little story about when he was 12 years old, driving his father's Buick to ball practice, and he ran off the road right in front of where we live now.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, he had this combination of, he seemed to understand the values of Walmart and how to build on those values, focus on the customer, focus on people. But he said, you know, you got to keep the brand relevant. And he talked about things like environmental sustainability. He talked about making sure to realize who's your customer. And he talked about Walmart, 70% of the customers are actually women. And he said they've changed sporting goods as a result. Not a lot of knives, fishing rods, and guns, but what women customers want. So he had this incredible insight, and I think it's challenging for all of us to have that kind of combination of the two.
He, right before he passed away, I had the privilege of attending a Saturday morning management meeting at Walmart. And I thought I was at a Little League baseball bake sale, because before you came into this auditorium that would seat maybe 400 or 500 people, there were card tables with cookies for sale and other items to raise funds for cheerleading uniforms and band uniforms and baseball and so forth. Came in the meeting in this big room, and they meet every Saturday morning. At the time, I think you had to attend 3 out of 4 Saturday morning management team meetings. And the meeting was to start at 7:30 on Saturday morning, and it was about 7:20, 7:25, and he jumps up to the microphone. He was under chemotherapy even at the time. With the enthusiasm and passion, he got up there, and the first thing he wanted to talk about was his wife going into a Walmart in Orlando, Florida, and the restrooms were dirty. And he talked about the restrooms being dirty and how that was undermining all these other great things that were going on. You got the feeling that on Monday morning, every Walmart in the whole nation would have been spit shine. As Dad says, drinking out of the toilet bowl, you know, kind of clean. But that's the agility. But it also reflects, you know, the passion, the excitement, the pride. He felt he was responsible for maintaining that everybody had to sync up. You know, we got to get it right. And I appreciate the very courageous, bold, but infectiously passionate way in which he led that company. And I think they still live off the energy that he he gave that business. I'm going to bring our discussion to a close. If anybody's got sitting on a tack here, real quick, but I wanted to bring it to a close just thanking each of you. You know who I am, and you know what my strengths, and you know a lot about what my weaknesses are. And I want to thank you so very much for making me look good and helping us, realizing that together we're doing something very special that not a one of us could do by ourselves.
That's right.
But how collectively God can even use us to do something special when we're willing to hang on to each other and cross the street together. It's been quite an adventure. And I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
very much.
you.
Thank you.